edit everything before that.
Okay, today's subject we're going to cover is cold weather. You can operate a business all year long and it operates as one standard, and then when things get cold, everything changes. Most heat pumps are designed to operate down to 30 degrees comfortably, and then once you get below 30 degrees, everything breaks loose, right? Electric heat kicks in, backup oil heat kicks in, gas kicks in, so it really tries to heavy on the unit, so it's working at its maximum potential in the wintertime. So there's a lot of challenges in the wintertime, so we're going to cover all the challenges in cold weather. Okay, on the customer side, everything customer calls and they have no heat, y'all are on call. Ask as many questions you can to find out what type of heat they have, okay? Whether it's gas, it's oil, something like that, okay? So, you know, they have a heat pump, right? It's electricity. So they have electricity in the house, they got potential to have heat, right? But if it's gas or oil, okay, 20% in the tank this time of year is the same as empty because it's called volumetric expansion. Volume of liquid, okay, can't boil off. You're outside, so if you have 20% or less in the tank, it's the same as empty. When they say, oh, I get gas in the tank, ask them how much. If they say, oh, I get 20%, that's the same as empty. So 20% tank in the summertime, volumetric expansion allows it to expand. In the wintertime, there's no gas left in the tank because the gas has to boil off from a liquid to a gas. It's too cold and it won't boil off. So oil, when it gets really cold in the wintertime, that oil, if it has any moisture, that's why we always tell you to dip the tank sometime. Add a little bit of moisture. If you take it up, if you gel up, when it gels up, it will not pull, okay? It is terrible. It's disgusting, like almost like, you know, when you get sick in wintertime, you get all that cold, you get that snot and mucus. Yeah, it's really thick, okay? Or it can actually freeze completely. So if those lines are exposed or above ground, okay, if they're 18 inches of the ground or below, they're not going to freeze because they're below the freeze line. If they're above that freeze line, whatever comes out of the ground of the tank, it should be insulated. You dip the tank for water, they have hot fuel that we put into it to help remove that. But it can actually freeze to the point that the pump's pulling and it's not getting anything. You can hand pump it, you're getting nothing, okay? So even though there's oil in the tank, it's not moving. It's too straight to move, stuff like that. So I was going as much as inside the lines, and it's bad enough winter everything. I'm actually taking bales of straw and throw straw over the lines where they're at on the ground to keep them insulated. Okay, just like a straw house, right? So you gotta find what type of heat they have, okay? That's number one. One system or two, okay? If they have two systems and they have one has heat, that is a heat situation. At least they have some heat. If they have a two-system house and everything and both of them are out, that's no heat, okay? So it's a difference between one system out versus both systems out versus a one system house, they have nothing, right? And let them back up heat this heat. So when they say the heat pump's not working and it's a 2 feet of snow on the ground, well, the heat pump has to move air, right? So when you have a heat pump, you have to move the snow from the top of the unit, okay, and the sides of the unit. And if the unit is iced up, it's an air-cooled unit in the summer, and it's a transfers heat in the winter. So with the solid block of ice, what's it going to transfer? Transfers nothing. So when they say they don't want to use the backup heat, or they're already using the backup heat, when that thing's already snowballed, okay, they're already into the backup heat. Okay, so the heat pump produces, like say, 75% of that heat, okay, and then it goes to the backup when it gets below 30 degrees. They're already using that electric heat. So when they say, I don't want to run that electric heat, they're already running it. They just may not realize it, depending on the type of thermostat they have. Okay, so the electric backup is to compensate as the temperature drops outside. Boom, it's dropping, it's getting colder, you know, produces less BTUs. The electric backup heat is to compensate for it. On dual fuel applications, boom, it switches over to gas, so they run simultaneously. No, heat pump and gas, they run independent. So if a heat pump's running and all of a sudden it's cold enough outside to switch over to gas, they may have a gas furnace issue. So when you get to these calls, the first thing you want to do to get these calls is first, verify what, Chris?
They have gas or oil in the tank.
Amen, brother. Amen. You got it. So,
hey, if they have oil, also make sure the oil lines are burned up down.
Yeah, but that's why you hand pump stuff and everything to check gas pressures and anything. So there's a lot of symptoms and everything where you might have oil, but you can suck residual oil out of the filter or residual oil out of the lines, and you'll get something like this where you have a little sample of it, and that's still not enough to run the thing. I'm hand pumping as much as a gallon of oil to verify that oil, and also take it and put it in a glass. So I can hold up the light and look at the quality of the oil because you get dirt and specks and parts of trash and everything. That can stop with a nozzle. A 0.5 nozzle can stop up. It's 0.5 nozzle is the easiest nozzle to stop the oil. I had a house and everything, it stops every 2 weeks. That's how dirty the tank was. And that's because the filters, you know, those drop-in filters, the general ones, they don't stop all the dirt. At least the spin-on filters stop a good percentage of the dirt. Not the small line parts, right?
And on that note, like mobile home furnaces, especially, I would recommend, especially right now, tell them burn kerosene.
Oh yeah, they're supposed to burn kerosene, right? Because you don't have like, any ethical way to clean them. So yeah, so you burn kerosene, I mean, so it burns a lot cleaner. and it's less likely because it can't do proper maintenance. The only thermal product is the only furnace that you can put in a trailer. It's actually painful. All the other furnaces and everything to clean them, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So when you get to the call, the first thing I try to do when I get the call is verify when you get to the calls. Okay, if it's snowing outside, okay, this right here, driveway spare. Okay, if I pull in the driveway, my truck weighs 17,000 pounds. Okay, they'd be like, oh, well, I can get out. Let's say moving 17,000 pounds is easy. You have to stop 17,000 pounds. Okay, when you get to the top of the driveway and you stop, okay, that frozen driveway, you will slide all the way down the driveway. My truck, when I first bought it, I slid 22 feet with it one time. Okay, 22 feet. Oh yeah. The pucker factor was umpteen. I could have made some coal to a diamond, you know. And the scary part about it is it stops when it stops. You can't stop it, right? So the simple fact is, evaluate before you pull in anybody's driveway. If they didn't clear the driveway, okay, if they didn't show the driveway clear, make it easy for you, how are you supposed to safely go there? Okay, I had the worst thing that ever happened to me: snow on the ground. So when you walk in the customer's house in the middle of the night with snow on the ground, do you know the terrain? Never been asked for. So I'm walking around the house to go to the outdoor unit. I walk right to the pond. So the snow on top of the water had 4 inch of ice on it, frozen, and I step right into the pond and I get soaked up to here. Okay, so the simple fact is, and think about it, okay, that was a shallow pond. Okay, so the simple fact is, don't arbitrarily just start walking around houses and everything. They got swimming pools, they got ponds, they got things that a layer of frost or ice can cover. So the danger factor goes up exponentially in the wintertime. So when you go to a customer's house, is the driveway clear? Okay, is your access to the outdoor unit? Me and William went to one and everything, but the hillside was so muddy, I literally stood here, and while I'm talking to William, I slid 12 feet down the hill. I couldn't stay in one spot, and that was in the summertime. So can you imagine what it's like in the snow? Moving duct cleaning equipment, right? You know, there's no amount of money that you can make to offset a back injury, okay? When you hurt your back or you hurt yourself and everything, and you make a workers' comp claim and you're out injured, you cost the company money, you cost time for your family, okay? And at the average insurance call, you make $250. Okay, so you got to evaluate and get smart, right? So before we even, on a snowy day, before we even start our trucks and everything, we call and say, hey, look, it's snowing right now in my house. What's it like? And somebody's always hit the roads first, right? Because there's many different intervals. So you find out what the roads are like, what's it going to be, what's it like in Dunkirk versus what's it like in Solomons. Because it could be snowing its butt off in Solomons and doing nothing in Dunkirk. So that communication has to happen when it starts to get bad weather. I like it now, I told Roy, is a switch to sun comes up. Because in the snow, in the bad weather, when it's dark, it's a totally different animal. You can only see so far, right? You can snowblind. But once the sun comes up, we can make an evaluation. I'd rather start an hour later, okay, on a snowy day and be safe than everybody start and come over top of the whole Sutherland and everything. Everybody's pile up, you know. Last time the truck got wrecked and everything, what did they say? The place I wanted to take it to repair the truck, right? They said they couldn't repair the truck that made it
Stopped that for a year before we took it somewhere else.
So like I said, so it's not advantageous for us to put these trucks on the road if the roads are that bad. So use common sense, right? So like I said, so we know cold weather and everything, customers have no heat, you ask what type of heat they had, we'll make sure the driveway's fair and the access to the outdoor unit. Okay? The worst I've ever worked on, there was sometime in the 90s, where they had 2 back-to-back snows and about new deep, okay? When you're walking, okay, through the snow and it's only 6 inches deep, that's great. If you're walking through deep snow and everything, I don't care how young you are, because the same in the 90s, I was younger. And like I said, now, and everything, if you're walking backwards in the snow, it feels like you're going to have a heart attack because of that. So you got to keep eye on the cold weather, you got to keep eye on your body conditioning, because not all of us are in the best shape, okay? Even though decent round is the shape. But yeah, remove the snow, right? If they don't remove snow from the top of the unit, what I tell people is switch an emergency when the snow's happening, and if they have a piece of plywood or something they can cover the unit with, once the snow's through, clear the unit off, and they can turn it back on. But do not let the unit running during the snowstorm or anything, because this sucks all that snow, freezing rain into the cold, and it has the potential to freeze it even worse. Because the average heat pump, right, it's going to defrost every 90 minutes, okay? So in that 90-minute cycle, okay, during a storm, it gets exponentially. It can only be defrost for 10 minutes. So it's going to make the cold freeze faster than it can ever thaw. So the best interest is to leave it off so it doesn't damage the unit. And like I said, after snowstorm.
Should people dump hot water onto a condenser to get the ice snow off?
Anything that they do, the hose temperature, if your hose is hooked up and it's not frozen outside, okay, the hose temperature itself, right, is 40 degrees. Okay, anything above 32, so you can use this at regular hose temperature, especially if you run it from inside the house like a slop sink. And anything above 32 degrees with the ice, again, you do not have to have hot water in it, because a lot of times the hot water will flash freeze right away inside, depending on the temperature. And so all they're doing is creating a bigger ball of ice. Okay? So in fact, anything you can do that's above 32 degrees will help the ice to move. Basically fan blades. You burn more fan motors and everything than the buck ice that's in that out there and everything will stay running. The fan motor's running and the fan motor's not. And you got about a minute and a half, 2 minutes before the fan motor burns up. So you get a lot of fan blades that get damaged with the ice. When it's running, ice will actually bounce off and hit the coal. I've seen so many mashed coals and everything from ice and thing. So like I said, that's why it's best for heat pumps to shut them off till the storm's over. What's the storm gonna last? 2 days, 3 days? You're gonna electric backup heat. The average electric backup heat will cost you $20 a day more. Okay? So it costs you $60 to keep it off for 3 days and when your electric backup heat, $60. Okay? Well, the average repair and everything is what, $350. If you damage something by a fan motor, it's gonna cost you $700. So $60, $20 a day to run the electric backup heat and not damage your unit or leave it running through the snowstorm and everything. So just use common sense and that kind of stuff, right? That's what we try to do. That's our job, is to educate our customers so our customers don't damage their piece of equipment and everything, because the year of the ice storm, anybody run calls the year of the ice storm? Yeah, you weren't even born yet, baby. You know,
We're the same age.
but the simple fact is, okay, I would go to customers' houses during the ice storm and everything, and literally, you know where Western Shores is, at the top of the hill, okay? I stopped there at the top of the hill, and I slid all the way to the beach. So what is that, like a quarter mile? The truck just kept sliding, and kept sliding, and kept sliding, and then finally, the only way I could get under control, I had to drive through with 2 tires in the road and 2 tires in the grass. And so I drove through everybody's yard just to get back up the hill. So some practice, So heat pumps, okay? Gotta remove the snow. If it's an ice storm and everything, definitely shut everything off. Now with gas furnace and oil furnace and everything, the most important thing is make sure they got gas, make sure the lights off, and most definitely carbon dioxide. Okay, if you have a side discharge chimney or any kind of chimney, if that fluid is blocked, okay, it can freeze. Okay, the drain line can freeze. We just went to one yesterday, right? The guy ran the drain line out on a 90+ furnace. He ran the drain line out in vinyl tubing. Okay, what does 3H vinyl tubing do?
Freeze.
Exactly. So when vinyl tubing freezes outside, anything the customer has condensate backing up in their basement, and if they have a switch or a float switch, it'll shut it off. So then with no heat, all because the knucklehead that put the system in, okay, puts vinyl tubing outside. So you want to run the drain either to the inside of the house if you're code-wise and you use an acid neutralizer, or you run it to the outside of the house in a larger size PVC that won't freeze, or you insulate the line as it goes outside. So this is a lot of things that happen when it gets below 32 degrees. Those gas furnaces, those condensing gas furnaces, the lines will freeze up on you, and the drain line causes water to back up, causes the switch to drop out, and then all of a sudden people have no heat.
Probably should put some extra boxes of vinyl tubing on the trucks for the next week or so, you think?
Yep. And like I said, and most people don't realize, but RB antifreeze, the pick RB antifreeze, you can actually dump that into the collector box and everything, and instead of water freezing at 32 degrees, it takes down to 11 degrees. So, and it's in Carrier Bolton too, because like I said, Wayne thought that I didn't know what to talk about, so I should have known one day. They carry antifreeze. That's when I first came here 4 years ago.
I've never once said that this guy doesn't know what he's talking about.
Yeah.
Wait, so that guy's an idiot.
Maybe you want to teach us something.
Hey, the RB antifreeze, you go down to 11 degrees, right? And then you just pour it in the collector box and as it drains up slowly and everything, it allows it, but yeah, they said a thing right in the Carrier Bolton. Do you remember seeing that, John? Years ago, they said RB pink antifreeze, because like I said, you're supposed to put heat tape if the units are in the attic so they don't freeze, but in cases they don't have the heat tape, they said add the RB antifreeze to it.
Wrote that book. No,
Yeah.
I've never seen that, but
Never seen
I'll believe you.
John said you're full of.
But the vinyl tubing and everything, like I
Sounds
said, if you run it inside the house and everything, okay, the condensing furnaces and everything make a sulfuric acid. So that's why you had to have the acid neutralizer when it pumps out, because if you run it to your septic tank and everything, the acid can actually heat the concrete of the tank. So it's not healthy for it. So like I said, so don't forget that the acid neutralizer, okay, is very important. Anything that pumps outside, I try to run it at least 1-inch PVC or 2-inch PVC and insulate it. A lot of times, all you get to do to insulate is just block it from the wind. So that black perforated pipe that comes off the drain gutters, everything, I've actually ran that inside that, so the wind blocks that from freezing. So at my house, I ran mine out 3/4, but I have the black pipe. I cut that back of the black pipe out and just stuck it right through there, and wind never hits it. I've been in the house 24 years no first. So like I said, so you just gotta block it from the wind and the cold weather. It's kind of like an insulated air gap space. Oil furnaces and everything, same thing. That oil furnaces with power burners and everything, that power burner is off for like a couple hours, right? And all of a sudden it comes on, and the ice is built up in the power burner where the power burner won't turn and everything. So a lot of times the power burners can freeze. So people don't realize that. You get a freezing rainstorm, the ice will get up in the power burner, stop it. And the power burner, Joe McKinney, a lot of customers and everything, they called me out in the middle of ice storm, and it's like, hey, I said, I bet you got ice in it. You go there, and his feet on the power burner, and the chunks of ice fall off, and the power burner motor starts spinning. So like I said, so sometimes leaving stuff running, like the heat pump damages it. When you just stay off for too long, that even makes it worse. Setback. If you have programmable thermostats and you do setback capability, you say you keep it on 72 degrees, and you normally drop it back to like 68 degrees or whatever, and just do not set your thermostat back. The house that's warm will stay warm. Do not set it back when it's cold, because if you let your house get cold, it takes it that much longer to run. But it's proven in a laboratory test that's proven in the last 8 years that setting it back and letting your house get cold, you just have to run so much longer. It doesn't save energy. It's proven that it doesn't save energy, except for businesses that only operate 1 day a week, like churches. It only saves energy if you operate 1 to 2 days a week. If you operate the space 7 days a week, it doesn't save any energy by setting it back in the day. So setting back 4 degrees, then it has to run so much harder to catch up. So tell the customers, find a temperature that you and your husband agree on, keep it on that temperature 365 days a year. The furniture stays warm, the carpet stays warm, the hardwood floor stays warm, and it holds the heat in the house, and it lasts longer. And if you know a storm's coming or ice storm's coming, what I do is I preload, and I keep it at 78 degrees in the house, getting the house nice and hot. So if electricity does go off, if electricity does go off and everything, the simple fact is,
It's gonna stay warm longer.
It's gonna stay warm longer, exactly. So my
Yeah,
brother,
rougher.
yeah, so like I said, so if the house with no heat and everything drops 12 degrees, right? Okay, 78 minus 12, or 68 minus 12, what should you rather do? You know, so like I said, so, you know, preload, it's like everything's right. You got people come over your house, and you come over, you drop your temps down to 62 degrees because you need to get company come over, the house may be
Oh,
cold.
this company's coming over? Okay, then I'll take it lower.
Yeah, you take it lower and everything, and get all the furniture in the house cold and everything, so it's just the same thing. You know, it's pre-cool or preheat, right? Oil furnaces, okay? Oil furnaces, we talk about the power burner freezing up, okay? If the power burner freezes up and everything, it's not gonna spin. Also chimneys. Some chimneys and everything, the chimney cap with freezing rain, the chimney cap can actually have a curtain come around and cover up the chimney cap. So it's very important everything to watch your draft on your chimneys, make sure the drafting, because that chimney cap freezes over, all that fumes and stuff like that within minutes and everything can overcome you.
On that same note, like the mobile home furnaces, the ones that have the larger pipe on the top, they bring fresh air from the so if you get some snow, it's going to cover up the fresh air supply.
And choke it up.
Yep, so it'll start sputtering, and then we got to make it. If it's a pitch roof, we're not getting on it. If it's a flat roof, then you want to get up there and maybe get on the edge with a broom and just knock the snow away from it. You can do that, but again, only if you can feel like you can do it safely.
But
I'm
yeah,
not getting on any roof that's got ice on it.
yeah.
Like snow.
Yes.
I personally have done that, but I'm not saying anybody should or needs
Yes,
to.
the year the ice storm, my ladder on my truck, there runs on the ladder with this much ice and pizza oven cold with no heat and everything. I literally climbed the frozen ladder with all my muscle strength and all, barely could make it up there to reset for the fan limit and everything, the roll out hit it because the wind, reset that and come back down the ladder. People think I'm a moron, some people are right.
That's crazy.
Yeah, but oil furnaces and everything, like I said, a lot of things, like I said, the water gelling, the cold temperatures, everything getting thicker. So the first thing you do is prove you got oil. Once you prove you got oil and everything, then you just got, combustion, right? The triangle. Fuel, air, and spark. And all those got the triangle and everything else. The first concern that I have, if it's natural weather out there and everything, is just get them some semblance of heat. If it's a heat pump with oil, and you can get the heat pump running, they got heat. If it's oil only, and you can't get the heat pump running, just get, if they got back, get their heat on, okay? And if it's not the best conditions to keep working on the unit, say, we'll be back. You have heat right now. Verify the heat's going to cycle on and off several times. Leave them with heat, okay? But you don't have to solve every problem there, because if it gets to the point of the year ice storm, the calls are coming in so fast and everything, you don't have time to fix every problem they have and everything. So the fact is, get the heat on. That's first priority. Get it on. Verify when you get there what works. Get it on. Okay? Once you get the heat on and everything, you can go from there and take some pressure off. You know they have someone's heat. Then you can look at other things and see if your call log is backing up and things like that. If you have time to look at the heat pump and all that, that's great. But the simple fact is, if you don't have time, because like the default thermostat, if there's this much ice on your default thermostat that you can't get to, we're going to be able to take it off? No. So the simple fact is, we'll come back another day for that. So remember, make smart decisions, make logical decisions. If the driveway's not safe and everything, okay, and you can't park the vehicle down the driveway, or you're going to stop at the top of the driveway and walk down the driveway and slip and fall, is that smart? Okay, so you got to make educated decisions. When it's nasty weather like this and everything, okay, and there's two to a truck, because a lot of times we put two to a truck. Do both people sit in the truck while somebody's backing up? Or does somebody get out and watch the person back up? Don't get behind the truck because you don't want them to slide into you, but guide that person back so they can see what's going on. Because when the driveway's white and the grass is white and it's white, can't they really have perception, right? You can't see where they're backing up. So when there's two to a truck, somebody gets out and guides the other person back or forward and helps them get out of parking spaces. That's an important thing. Safety was. When it gets really, really cold, okay, and you're doing a change out, and your face is freezing, your hands are freezing, you know you can come in the house and get warm, okay? They have the ability, okay? So do not get frostbite. Do not cover your face, cover your ears, all your extremities. Like so, dress in layers because in some facts, if it gets too hot, you can peel layers off. But it's so important. If your hands are numb, if your fingers are numb, or anything, go back inside the house. If it's cold inside the customer's house and everything, it's outside, then go into the truck and everything, you know, and just get warm. But it's an important thing to make smart decisions when it gets cold because the fact is, think about it. You came to work safe and healthy. You want to go home safe and healthy. Okay, so you're driving basically a truck is a weapon, right? It's over 10,000 pounds. The truck should all drive all stuff on it, and if you get an accident, they're not minor accidents in those big trucks and stuff. There's not a minor accident at all. If you hit somebody, you're either going to destroy yourself, okay, or another family or something like that. That's why I say, oh, I got to work. I got to get to work. Okay, if you come to work 2 hours late, okay, we do not care about that as long as you're safe. Okay, so like I said, so say, hey, if the weather's terrible, I can't get out of my driveway, I'd rather have you not wreck the truck and everything and come in a couple hours late than try so hard to get in here and everything and you wreck. Okay, how many trucks we on the road? 13, 14? Okay, so 14 trucks. If we wreck 2 trucks and everything, that's too many. Because like you said, it took a year just to find out and everything that the guy couldn't work on the truck and everything. Once the body, these fiberglass trucks, the body repair companies won't even touch it, right? So, and it's hard to find trucks and everything, and trucks are very expensive. So, make smart decisions. And anytime, in the winter time, that you go to anything old, okay, the customer knows everything. If those lines are gelled up or any water in the tank and everything, they're going to hot fuel. They use hot fuel, okay. Then, like I said, didn't say sign this piece of paper.
I recommend every call your own oil for the next week.
Yep.
Dump that in there while you're there.
Yeah, because
give them the price first, but that should be on every single call for the next week.
Yeah, because when it gets cold and everything, this has a great preventive measure to get the moisture out of that, stop the oil from gelling up and everything, and it's just a great preventive measure and everything. Like I said, basically a customer call, they have no heat. This is part of the price package and everything. They are getting everything clean and they're getting hot fuel and included in the price because. Like I said, if you're touching that furnace in this time of year and you're not putting hot fuel in it, you're doing it injustice because you get a call back and you didn't put hot fuel in it, you know. And the only time, remember, this goes in a tank and this can mix up to like 250 gallons. Okay, so if the tank is really low, you may want to put half a bottle in it. Don't fill it up because this stuff is like jet fuel, right? And one of the guys who used to work with me, John, he actually put it in the filter. Do not put it in the filter or anything because the furnace will dance off the ground a little bit. Derek, have you ever seen a furnace dance before? You ever see one of those?
I'll blow up.
It's
It's
the same equivalent, right? So driveways, right? So they say customers keep them clear and everything, okay? If you see you're in the middle of source call, okay, and one snow, when you got there and it starts to snow, and you're at the bottom of the hill, what do you do?
Get out
Get
there.
out of the driveway.
Get to the top, get out of the driveway, exactly. You can't stay down the driveway. Say, oh, it'll stop, it'll stop, it'll stop. Okay, you have to get out of that call to get to the next call or to get home to your family. So you either got to pack a lunch and a sleeping bag and stay at the customer's house for the next day, or make smart decisions. You know,
Maybe a week at this point because they ain't gonna be able to above freeze them for a week.
you know.
Man,
Like
you got anybody on the couch?
like I said, the guys that do the install, that's great because they have shovels on the truck. If you don't have the shovel truck, think about putting a shovel in the back of your truck. So if you do have to shovel down to asphalt or shovel down to something and everything, to get out of customer's driveway and everything. I keep a chain most of the time of year, so I keep a chain on my truck because the customer says, hey, man, if you had a chain, I'd pull you out. I always keep a chain and everything. I always keep trucker cables and everything. So the simple fact is make smart decisions. Get the heat on. That's probably number one. You don't have to fix everything they have, but if they have the lucky backup heat and everything and heat pumps still frozen solid, as long as you verify all the backup heat is working and everything and that fan stays running, that's heat, right?
What do they call the ER when they're prioritizing? What's that called?
Oh, triage. Yeah, you triage everything.
Week and a half to just triage.
Yep, we're gonna make smart decisions and everything, and get the people's heat on, and solve as many problems as we can and everything. And some fact is like Louis, okay, if the thermostat takes red and white, okay, and red and white is all you need to get the gas furnace working, we don't care about dual fuel with that movement, right? We care about tying in red and white in the thermostat and make sure the oil furnace works, or tying in red and white and make sure the gas furnace works, or tying red and white and make sure the electric heat works. Okay, so I don't have a heat pump thermostat on my truck, it doesn't matter. To get the heat on, all you need is red and white and a heat cool thermostat in that moment. Okay? Does anybody have any questions on that? You know?
If you get in a sticky situation where you think you can't get the truck out or it looks kind of dangerous, I have a tow truck, call me. So
Call Jake from State Farm.
That's right, like a good neighbor, he's always taking.
He's always there. He
More
never,
than
he never
four-wheel
sleeps.
drive, so we should get a chain on his truck.
Yeah.
You know, if somebody does need a little tug or something.
Uh,
We see friends not mid AutoZone or
if
somewhere.
you are
get one
stuck
today.
by any hills, don't try and get unstuck.
On the topic of time management too, be mindful of what time of day you are at a customer's house, because what happens when it gets dark out? It's colder. Any moisture that isn't frozen will freeze when it gets dark outside. If you are at a customer's house in the evening time and it is getting dark, that means it is getting colder. Be mindful where you park, be mindful of your health, be mindful of everything around you.
Also, if you start to slide while you're driving, do not hit the brake, induce drag. You have a gear selector on the side, fourth, third, and so on and so forth, as long as you have the distance. Don't hit the brakes, because you're going to go somewhere you don't want to.
And as long as your foot is on the brake, you will not be able to steer. So like I said, so you can steer without your foot on the brake, but if your foot stays on the brake, all you want to do is stay straight. You can turn the wheel as much as you want, but you're not going to get any steering capabilities. So like I said, that's why move slow, drive like me, drive slow. Dang.
All over the road.
Yeah, exactly. Well, in the bad weather, yeah. I can't have so much weather experience or anything because I drive in the grass more than I drive on the road. You know?
And in like neighborhoods, like last year I got stuck, I almost hit somebody's car.
Yeah.
Nothing I could do about it because it was two lanes.
Oh yeah,
Right in
and
the middle, so-
if the weather's bad, he had perfect application, right? Okay, if you got a car coming the opposite way and there's snow on the road and everything, and you have the ability to stop, you stop and let them pass you. Don't worry about passing them and everything, because if you're stopped and they hit you, it's not your fault, okay? But if you both are passing anything, then it's a blame game, right? So like I said, so if a car's coming out the direction and it's snowing on, there's only one set of tracks, pull over, let them go right by, and then as they go by, they're by. Okay, I did that in DC all the time. You let them have the right of way and everything, because the fact is they're the ones making the move. Okay, if you're stopped and they hit you, it's not your problem. So the fact is, these trucks are big. You know, like I said, make smart decisions. One thing that most guys don't realize or anything, but it is the law. Okay, when you start these trucks and there's snow on them or anything, you have to clear the entire vehicle, not your windshield only. Okay, you have to clear the hood, the windshield, and the roof of the truck, and your headlights and your taillights. Okay, because the car has to be visibly seen. Okay, we do a great job of cleaning the windshields. Okay, the trucks that are box trucks sucks to clean the top of them and everything. Okay, but the simple fact is,
the top.
yeah, but the top of that, all that snow comes off, it becomes a missile. Okay, so that's the reason why it's illegal, right? Is because as you're driving, that flies off and hits the car behind them, and then goes to their windshield and everything, and causes another accident. And you can be liable for that. So you have to clean off the top of your vehicles. Okay, what I try to do in my driveway is, since I have a few vehicles, I try to park them back to back and everything, so that way when the snow comes down and everything, it doesn't hit the asphalt. So when I do actually move the vehicles, I actually have some bare spots that are already buried, you know, all the way down to the ground. So when you have 20 vehicles in the driveway like I do, I actually have a lot of parking spaces that I can actually keep covered.
What if you have 20 pieces of vehicles?
Maybe.
Well, the driveway's just unusable, so.
You know, and it's much easier to pull out than just to back out in the snow. So some fact is, if you see a customer's driveway, back in, okay, that way you can always pull out. It's much easier to go forward into the vehicles, because like I said, four-wheel drive, you know, anything like that, it will slide. So always try to back in as many times as you can, so that way you're pulling up the hill, pulling out that direction.
Do you know if your four-wheel drive works more?
I'm assuming it does.
Yeah, we're gonna test that.
Yeah, I know what the Golf did and everything, like the truck that wired that. Like that.
Make sure you're in and out.
So like since we talked about no heat situation, prior to get the heat on, the driveway's clear and everything, just make contact with the customer and everything. Say, look, you know, our policy is, you know, driveway has to be clear for our trucks to get in there. I've had it so bad and anything where the customer had this like Mini Coopers, and they literally this much snow on the side of the driveway, they cleared for their car. Okay, so when I pulled in the driveway, I'm like, because the snow, once you dig it up for the snow blower, it became frozen again. So literally on my big truck, my F-350 I had, it literally scraped the fiberglass all the way down to, so it has to be cleared for, like me, fat guy. Okay, so you have to clear for the fat guys.
What about the little old ladies that can't clear their driveway?
Well, we'll send Jake there and anything for a nominal fee, he'll clear the driveway.
It's just cats, like a plow.
Yep. But at one time I actually thought about that because I had the Tundra. I said, we should double duty, right? I said, have two guys to a truck, have one guy filing the driveway, but the other one's guys fixing the unit and everything, so they get a quick driveway clear and all that at the same time, right?
Service with a smile.
You know? Well, yeah, but like I said, don't get overwhelmed by, like I said, all these things. Use common sense and everything, and remember, get the heat on. Don't say, hey, this has got so many problems with it and everything. Just red and white. Red and white gets the electric heat on. Red and white gets the gas furnace on. Red and white, gets the oil furnace on. Okay, so as long as you just test the basics and everything, so we don't overcomplicate. Like Warren said, we triage, right? We get it down to the basics, simplistics, and everything. And and if you see a driveway like this and everything, say, no way, no mas. Because I've had customers in white sands like that, where the driveway's like that, wet with leaves, and I slid on wet leaves. So can you imagine this stuff?
And they'll always tell you, oh, you can do it. You can pull the driveway. No. We've got to make the decision, not rely on customers say it should be okay.
Yeah, like I was legal, stop in the driveway, and now, just get out of the vehicle and just make an honest thing. If your kids are going to have fun on that driveway sledding, if you make a decision, say, man, my kids will love this driveway. If your kids are going to love it, you're not going to love it when you go down with a 17,000 pound truck. But yeah.
One caveat to getting the heat on is get it on safely.
Safely, yes.
So, I'm going to backtrack to the whole carbon monoxide thing. It is not worth getting the heat running if it's going to kill the panel.
Yes, and like I said, so that's what I'm saying. Everything that you do, if you don't have that carbon monoxide detector on your body, and you're not testing and everything, you're not testing in the fluid and testing around that house and everything, because like that one guy's house, his dog, we had to do a heat exchanger on his furnace this week. His dog was not carbon monoxide poisoning, and his carbon monoxide didn't go off because it was 40 parts per million. It was low level carbon monoxide poisoning. And he goes, my CO detector didn't go off. His dog was getting poisoned, and he was ready to put his dog down. Okay, because no, it's another customer. Like I said. But the simple fact is, I really pulled in the driveway and he's ready to take his dog there and everything. I said, oh no. I said, cleared the house, we opened up all the windows and everything, and got the heat pump running. But his heat exchanger was stopping up. It was only like a 7-year-old furnace. The heat exchanger was stopping up and everything and filled phosphor at low level carbon monoxide poisoning. And literally he did not know because the CO detector didn't go off. I mean, he had 1,400 parts per million in flue and 40 in room and everything. And it goes off at 75 parts per million. So if you keep these carbon monoxide detectors in your house, you're safe. Okay, somewhere 24. So 3 to 24 hours and everything, 75 parts per million and everything. So if your family's getting nauseous, dizzy, getting headaches and everything, your pets are getting sick and everything, be very interested in doing a low carbon monoxide alarm and everything. So it kind of warns you because 0 to 75 is enough to actually make your family sick. I mean, he's ready to put his dog down over this and everything because of low carbon monoxide level poisoning. Somebody with a small brain like me, I can handle that, but,
So your combustion analyzer, your meter, leak detectors, where should they be at nighttime for the next week and a half, 2 weeks?
In bedrooms.
Take them inside every night.
And fresh batteries, because like I said, think about it, your life is on the line, okay? So they need to be charged, make sure they're warm and they charge, because if that carbon monoxide detector, $3 worth of batteries, is your life worth more than $3? And so some factors, make sure
Please treat today because I think it is. I think this is the calm before the storm. Please tell your families next week I'll be working a lot because we're basically going to be standing between people and frozen pipes, busted pipes, or worse health scenarios. So please go through your truck like fine tooth comb, get your truck prepared, salt, ice scrapers, batteries prepared, like bringing stuff in at nighttime and kind of think through what we need to do because we're basically going to be the lifeline, outside of 911. We're going to be the lifeline for people for the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, and old farmhouses and everything, they used to freeze within 24 hours. House nowadays, it only has to be below 32 degrees for 3 days, and pipes freeze. Okay, but at the same time, customers don't care. Like I said, they don't have heat and everything, they want the heat fixed right away. But yeah, average house that's built nowadays, in the 2000s, it takes 3 days for no heat and make the pipes start freezing and everything. So it's not a panic situation. The pipes are going to freeze in 24 hours. My brother called me at 10 o'clock one night, says he was out. I said, well, I'll see you first thing in the morning. He said, come out tonight? I said, no. I said, I'll see you first thing in the morning. And it went from 72 degrees now to 65. So it dropped 7 degrees overnight. But like I said, at 6 o'clock in the morning and everything, I was fixing the seat for the smile instead of fixing the seat at 10 o'clock at night. All working. Any questions? Make smart decisions. Don't be afraid to pick up the phone and ask for help. And what has always been our policy, which we don't enact all the time, what's our policy? How long are you on the call before you're supposed to call someone?
45 minutes an hour.
Good job. So if you're on the call for more than an hour and you haven't called somebody, you didn't do your due diligence, right? Phone a friend, ask questions, do these things because the fact is, remember that circle. Once you made that same decisions in 1 hour, that second hour you make the same decisions, third hour you make the same decisions, so you make bad decisions after the first hour. The first hour is your trial period where you can do all the things you want. If you don't phone a friend after that first hour, okay, it's called insanity. You're making bad decisions time and time again. And I've had guys like John Good Workforce and everything, he let a call for 8 hours, making the same circle of decisions. You try to save it over and over. And so sometimes you got to step away and get some perspective, or have somebody come help you and things like that. So that's not a humility thing. That's not a thing. I'm too proud to ask for help. I'm 100 years old and everything, and I still ask for help because the simple fact is I don't know it all. And sometimes when you're hungry or tired or your back hurts and everything, sometimes you make bad decisions. You can't think clearly and everything when you're in pain. So the simple fact is, that's why it's good to phone a friend.
Be specific on some of the gas furnace and oil furnace stuff.
Gas furnaces and everything. On gas furnaces, then 90% of the time it's pressure switches and it's because condensate lines are backing up. Okay, so the first thing I do is take the condensate lines off, make sure drainage is clear, verify that first. Second thing is, every safety in the furnace can bypass temporarily the test, right? So if you have a pressure switch that's going bad and everything, test around the pressure switch. Most pressure switches aren't failing. Pressure switches are failing because they're backed up with moisture, and the moisture in the pressure switch is causing the problem. Pressure switches don't go bad, they go bad because of something else. Okay? The burners. The first burner is the igniter, the last burner is the flame sensor. They have to cross over. The crossover tube and everything is the burners, okay, because they all have a slot in them. So that slot in the burner, if it's dirty, it's not going to cross over and light them all. So that slot that's in every burner is that crossover. And that flame chases down and lights all the burners, okay? If all the burners aren't clean, they're not going to light evenly. The flame sensor rectification has to be clean and it has to be in the right location. That flame sensor, just because you have a screw in it, don't mean it's in the right location. Mr. Wilson's house and everything, it was actually bent and crooked. And like I said, and they thought I was a hero because I realized it was in the wrong position and I made it in the right position. Because it has to sense the flame. So if your flame sensor's over here and the flame's here, is that in the right position? It's not the flame, is it? Okay, and you can tell that with the flame sensor rectification, right? The micrograms on the meter, because like I said, the micrograms tell you what the micrograms should be, okay? Then you're reading that. So if the flame sensor is bad, or it's not in the right position, so sometimes you might have to play with that flame sensor and make sure it's the right flame sensor, because the flame sensor is a little short, stubby thing, like Jake, right? Okay? It may not be in the flames, right? So you need a long one, like D. And so like I said, so it senses the flame.
Is there a general rule of like what the microamp should be?
3 to 10.
3 to 10.
3 to 10.
Is it 3?
Some
of the trains go down as low as 2.5.
Yeah. So something do that, but like I said, but you can measure, like if it's under 1, you know that helps. So like I said, but like I said, I always verify the first initial reading, clean it, and see if it makes a difference. And also, if the gas pressure's low, right, this flame's not getting hot, it's going to go to a low reading. Okay, because that flame, it's micrograms, right? So that flame hits it. Okay, if it's an orangish flame, it's not going to get as hot. So the hotter the flame and everything, the more micrograms it's going to read. If it's off to the side of the flame, it's not going to read as well as it's in the flame. And if it's dirty, it's not going to read as well. And remember when we clean them, right? When we clean with sandpaper, they're good for that year and only. Because what happens is the roughness that you created with sandpaper and everything, now it's going to stick to them. Okay, so some factors, you don't want to clean them roughly. You want to clean them with something fine, minute, and everything, like a triple out steel wool, a fine steel wool. Because if you scratch them really bad, that's how they get dirtier faster. So some factors, can you clean with sandpaper? Yes. Will they last that long? No, they don't last long once you clean them rough. And some of that sandpaper we got is very aggressive. It's like Frank, very aggressive.
This is true.
Can we circle back to like what you said earlier, because I think it was a good idea.
Yeah.
Obviously, for the next week and a half, we're going to run a lot of frozen drain lines. So I think we got a couple of choices on kind of get your perspective. And one, we get some heat guns. So we got vinyl tubing or a 3/4 pipe going out there. So we can thaw it out and solve it right then and there. So then it's like, okay, I'll get back to triage.
Yeah.
We don't have time to drill a 2-inch hole, run 2-inch PVC. That's more.
I'll go to the washer box. If I have the luxury right now temporarily, I'll take the vinyl tubing and reroute it or run vinyl tubing to the washer box and everything, which is not going to freeze inside the house when we come back to after you triage it. So instead of running a 2-inch hole through the wall, hammer drill, and all that work and everything, which is going to take an hour and a half, exactly just what I'm going to keep it.
Drain, sink,
Yep, exactly. Laundry sink, washer box, anything like that you can get to. I have a house and everything, but they don't use the thing in the basement, and for that week and everything, I actually drained it into the tub for a week and everything. But make sure that you secure it down and everything somehow. And they put a block on top of it or something like that, because as soon as the pump pumps out and that vinyl tubing comes out, then you just flood the basement. So do not put it in temporarily to the point that everything that it flops around and it just dumps water everywhere and it's not dangerous.
And have the customer sign off like, hey, this is a temporary thing. The
Yes.
customer assumes responsibility to make sure this all stays in place. We're there to help, but please cover our butts in the process.
Yeah, and do we drill a hole in a 2-inch sewer line and everything to put the drain in? No. I'm not drilling any drain lines and anything like that because that's got sewer gases and things like that. And now, if they have a trap, like I said, if you see the washer box or anything that has the trap off of it, it comes off like that, you can go into that because the sewer gases came back into the line tubing. But like I said, so if it has a trap in the basement for the sewer line, has a, or a pit in the basement and everything, like I said, sump pump pit, everything, you can go to sump pump pit all day long because the sump pump pit is not going to freeze. Which is an excellent place to run it too. But yeah, keep the bottom tubing on your truck for that application. But yeah, 90 plus furnaces and everything, yeah, that flue gases and the pipe and everything. And if you're worried about pressure switching closing, does this take your combustion air, your exhaust, right? Because the average 90 plus gas furnaces, you can be in a room with a 90 plus gas furnace with no flue, okay, 90 plus, 90, not all, 90 plus gas furnace, you can be in the same room with it for a couple of hours. Of running and not get sick, okay? So all we're doing is testing it. So if you have one that keeps dropping out, you can take the flue off and the combustion air off completely and see if it lights. And if it lights with it off, the furnace runs, and you have a flue issue. You have dips in the flue, blockage in the flue, throws in the flue, But like I said, like I said, as long as your carbon monoxide detector on and everything, I can run that thing for an hour. I don't need an hour to test it or anything, okay? And just keep carbon monoxide levels on and everything. And as long as it don't go over, 15 parts per million in that room and everything, you can be exposed to it for up to 8 hours. You're not going to test it for only 10 minutes, right? So in the next 10 minutes, you're not going to get sick from it. You're not going to harm the homeowner as long as you wear a carbon monoxide detector. But you want to test that furnace that's working, take the flue off, take the combustion air side off, see if the flue lights. If the flue lights with everything off, you have another issue. It's not a furnace issue.
Just something to keep in mind with that.
Yeah.
Don't do it if there's birds in the house. Or if there's birds near the furnace.
Yeah.
Because birds are very sensitive to that stuff, and people that have birds are crazy about their birds.
What do you want? Heat or the bird? You can get you another bird. They're on anywhere.
Hey, when we have a whole room of birds and anything, you just tell us the color and everything, and let's replace it.
We have spare birds, man.
We have spare birds. Do you have a parrot? Do you have a parrot or a parrot? Which one, man?
Katie first.
Can't get a bird house.
That's what you call something the other day, a canary.
So on the wheel furnaces in '94, we had that ice storm. Literally the whole week, I feel like all I did, I went around.
Throwing
out oil lines.
Yeah.
But I would literally everybody's got a blowout cartridge or blowout gun, right, for the oil lines.
Mm-hmm.
Get your blowout guns, get a couple cartons or a couple containers of the blowout cartridges, blow the oil line back, get your hand pump, pull it in by hand. But when stuff starts to gel, dump the hot in the tank. But that's really, I swear in '94, I bet 80% of the calls I ran, blow line, pull it in by hand, dump it in hot, you just get stuff going. So with drain lines and oil furnaces gelling up, to me, I think that's probably the two big things we're going to see the next week and a half.
Yeah, and see, that's the nice thing too about a tiger loop. Okay, with a tiger loop and everything, okay, you actually can take that oil, okay, and as the oil comes in, okay, it actually generates the oil and everything. You can actually check to see if you're getting quality oil. So if you have one that's questionable and everything, like I said, installing the tiger loop gives you the ability to actually see the oils coming in constantly and everything, checking on the quality of oil in the generator. As that oil comes in, just dumping the oil back in and warming it up before it goes in the burner. So that's the other advantage of the tiger loop and everything. It generates the oil and warms it back up before it goes in the burner. It doesn't help the outside part and everything, but like I said, it keeps the circulation of the oil and stuff like that. So the tiger loop is also a nice thing. But yeah, like I said, if you ain't got a hand pump, let us know because you got a hand pump and everything. Because if you're hand pumping here freely, then you know the oil burner can pull it. But if you can't pull the hand pump and you ain't pulling with the oil burner, they never know.
And find out today, like we need to know everything today, like literally use today to prepare for everything. We don't want to get next week, oh, I didn't know I didn't have this. Please, 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 everything we're talking about today, please check your trucks today.
And the number one most specific tool and everything, is I honestly say, is a carbon monoxide detector. If your carbon monoxide detector is not working, that is the priority number one. Because the simple fact is, you can save yourself and save the customer's family with that. I walked in the guy's house and literally I picked up 40 parts from me right away. And like I said, we shut the furnace off and opened the whole entire house. It saves lives. The carbon monoxide detector saves your lives, it saves customers' lives. So that is probably number one, the most important tool, okay? Because if that thing is not operating accurately, anything, that's the most important tool.
And kudos, by the way, for the dog. I mean, the dog had lost his life, so kudos for catching that.
Well, King said he was going to give the dog mouth to mouth and everything. He said if it was me and everything, I'd die, but he loved animals when he loves me.
Do we have any of the spare, like personal carbon monoxide detectors?
But it probably wouldn't be bad to have a couple extra ones in case one about goes down, maybe we can rotate them.
Because then you can't charge them up in the batteries, you know, I don't know what the light, you said they last 2 years, but.
Mine have been for 2 years and everything, it's still going strong. Like I said, I assume you can shut them off. I've never shut mine off because up there in the truck.
It's
and
such a pain to
everything.
shut
Is it?
them off.
Yeah, I think mine.
I don't know where or how to get a battery for it.
Yeah.
So
Mine saved my life because my saline bottle leaked in my tank, you know, in the back of the truck, and it was going off crazy. And like I said, I loaded with a saline bottle leaking. So like I said, so mine saved that because can you imagine me starting a vehicle with a saline bottle leaking?
Mine goes off every time I fart, and that's no joke.
In a pinch, you do have the low-level carbon monoxide detectors on most trucks. Throw the batteries in and out of the box and roll with that. If yours it just magically dies while you're out.
Magic one.
But yeah, safety. And if you're driving, even in a customer's driveway, and you got a seatbelt on, don't take the seatbelt off until you're in the vehicle's parked, because even in a small, short accident and everything, you can hit the windshield and everything, and then you can come brain dead like me. And you don't want that. You
Well,
know?
if you're short, look at the steering wheel.
Yeah, exactly. And the airbag comes off. You go forward to the airbag, and the airbag slams you back in the seat. You know.
Whiplash.
But yeah, like I said, oil furnaces and everything, like you said, if you go in the house and anything, and you don't have a carbon monoxide detector or anything, do not be playing with oil furnace till you put that on. Everything, because literally, like I said, oil furnace can produce high levels of carbon monoxide right away. And like I said, you'll get dizzy, you get goofy, and then like I said, you'll die. So the simple fact is, walk into every house this time of year as if every house has a combustible fuel, okay? And like I said, just wear it all the time. It's gonna have it wearing in the house all the time. Otherwise, you keep it on your tool bag, right? You know.
And that way, if it goes off, it's right in my ear.
Yeah. But that's probably the most critical thing is keep yourself safe, keep the customer safe and everything. And like I said, we only get bad weather once every 10 years in Maryland. You know what I mean? But like I said, that's why it's even more important to talk about it, because since we don't, you know, like I said, last time we had snow and everything, you were born, Jake.
It's your fault.
Transition to like just, I mean, you've already kind of covered it, but just kind of talk more about those.
Safety wise, okay,
Personal safety.
safety wise and everything is if it gets below 28 degrees and everything, is you got to cover it up. It's going to fall for you, okay? So hands, ears, face protection, everything. Like I said, the only thing that should be, you know, not covered is your eyes so you can see.
We have some beanies here if you don't know.
Majority of your heat and everything goes out your extremities, right? So it goes out your feet, your hands, and your head. So if you don't cover your feet, you don't cover your hands, you don't cover your head, you're losing the most heat, okay? So the fact is you gotta keep your head covered, okay? Even if you have hair, okay, like you, and everything, you still wanna cover that, so that's gonna help hold it in. Like I said, layers, okay? Because if you can get overheated, the worst thing to do is get overheated when you're in a customer's house sweating and you walk outside. That's terrible because now you're wet and you're going outside and you're gonna freeze. So you don't wanna get so hot and everything that you start sweating, because then you go inside the house, sweat, come outside and everything, and it actually is worse because then all that moisture and everything is going to start freezing everything and make you cool even faster. Make decisions, okay? Like I was showing one of the guys yesterday, the installers, okay? We have bubble wrap, cut a 3-4 piece of bubble wrap in my outdoor unit. When you're kneeling down, kneel down on a bubble wrap, so with the snow on the ground, you're not kneeling in the snow. You're kneeling on a piece of bubble wrap with an insulation, so you're not kneeling on a frozen tundra, you're not kneeling on the snow, right? And your tools are not in the snow, because you ever lost your tools in the snow? You're not gonna find them somewhere. You know, so it's back to this. So lay that bubble wrap down and everything, so you can kneel on that and everything, and keep yourself separate from that. So if you don't have a 3-foot piece of bubble wrap, there's a 3-foot by 3-foot section. Like I said, let's go to shop and cut it and everything, get it ready, because like I said, it's nice to have it because you lay it down and it separates you from the snow, so your clothes don't get wet, so you're not wet the rest of the day. Do we clean coals in the winter time? Nah, probably not. If their hose is frozen and their drain line is shut off or anything, do we want to turn it on? No. We're just going to right up and say, hey, this is probably on a springtime thing, because the fact is, if you touch a customer's water spigot and it freezes up, or it busts up, if Christopher touched one time, and we went to turn it on, it actually blew out of the house. And luckily, it blew water out the holes instead of filling the basement, his basement up and everything. So we had to go inside and shut the water off to the house.
So my first call, the customer said, we need to clean the water. So I'm the coils. Last time I came, so I'm guessing it was in the winter time that we need to clean it. So I'm gonna have a talk with him
I
about
mean,
that.
I had one yesterday where it was shut off, and I was
Yeah.
like,
Oh, no, exactly.
I'm not turning it on. You want to turn it on?
Yep, exactly. You got it. If their water shut off to the house, it probably shut off for a reason, and if we turn it on, we don't know what.
Yeah, I mean, I said the spigot's there, I'll clean it, but.
Yeah, 100% right, exactly.
Yeah, we said it earlier, but any situations like that, have customers sign off. Like, if customers want to assume responsibility for something, as long as they sign off first, I don't want it verbal. Like, they said it'd be okay, please have them sign. That's unfortunately today's world. There's people out there who
Yeah.
conveniently forget they told you to do
And
something.
if we drop a heater off at a customer's house, do not drop a heater off at a customer's house without explaining to how it operates. We assume everybody's smart enough to understand the heater, you just plug it in and it works. No, the ceramic heaters and everything, if they're too close to objects, they catch them on fire. The oil fire heaters, they have limits, high temperature limits, stuff like that. So they have on and off switches. So please, okay, if you have a house, okay, and you want to plug a heater in, those heaters run 1500 watts. 1500 watts is a hairdryer. That's 15 amps. 15 amps. Every circuit in a house is 15 amps by itself. The kitchen circuit, the dining room circuit, and the bathroom circuits are 20 amps. So if you have the choice of plugging in, you want to plug it into a dining room circuit because it's a 20 amp circuit. And in this room and everything, you may only have 2 circuits. So if I plug 2 heaters in the same circuit, what's going to do to the breaker? Trip. Going to trip the breaker. So it's very important, everything, that have multiple heaters in the house, do not put them on the same circuit and everything. So if you have one in this room, most likely you're not going to be able to put a heater in the same room. Okay?
What's scarier is if it doesn't trip the breaker.
Exactly, which is Federal Pacific and Wasville panels and everything, or sometimes they won't trip, or some of the wiring some of these electricians I've seen. Okay, so remember, educate your customer on these heaters. Just because you give them a heater, don't mean they know how to operate it. Okay, if that heater's touching their curtains and everything, okay, so you can't plug this in next to your bed. You can't plug this in. Well,
It'll be warm.
they'll be warm.
Hey, they'll be warm for the rest of their life.
Yeah, but that's the whole point and everything. We assume everybody's educated on these things. Not everybody's smart, okay, and knows about electric heaters because they said if they weren't born with electric heaters or had that feature and everything, right, they didn't know about it. The best heater out there I like is the oil-filled ones and everything because the oil-filled ones, it heats up oil and then when they shut off, oil actually radiates in the room. The ceramic heater, as soon as it shuts off, there's no heat left in the room. The oil-filled ones are quiet. You can actually hear and talk.
What about the people who run the kerosene heaters in their house?
It's illegal to run kerosene in your house and everything. All the insurance companies that outlaw them and everything, kerosene heaters, you can run them in a garage, you can run them in sheds, but you don't have enough air turnover in the house for a kerosene heater and everything. So if you see a customer running kerosene heaters because they don't have heat and everything, just warn them, just educate them, say carbon dioxide levels on that and everything because they're not vented or high and they're illegal for insurance companies and everything. And if your house soaks up and everything, insurance companies won't cover it anymore. And everything. So
I slept next to one of those when I was a kid.
that's explains it.
That's fair.
Low level carbon dioxide, oxygen deprived. Okay, that makes sense. Oh, and if you don't have a container for bleeding oil, if everybody says, man, my oil line's frozen, the best test for oil lines being frozen, right, is this. Is I take a flex line and I take it in my oil container and I literally stick the flex line in my oil thing and just watch it burn right off. And it's like, man, you don't have nothing on your oil furnace, there's something in the oil lines. You can test it in 30 seconds. So if you have an oil jug, if you don't, tell your wife to save the oil, not the oil, the detergent containers, so you can put a lid on it. But that oil detergent container, I turn to an oil container, it holds a gallon, and literally you can run a gallon of oil for about 15 minutes, right? And literally, that's to show right in front of the customer, flex line into the thing. It's running for 15 minutes. I said, see, man, I said, you don't have a oil burner problem, everything works fine. It's something there's oil lines to tank. You can prove it right to the customer, verify it right there, that the oil furnace works, okay? And it is the oil lines, because if you try to explain to them the oil lines aren't working, and they can't see inside the oil lines, right? So they won't believe you. So to verify sometimes, just hook up the flex line into your thing, siphon it right in there, it burns for 20 minutes. Okay, man, for 20 minutes and everything, this has been burning, right? I said, now do you understand you don't have an oil burner issue? You have something wrong with your oil lines. I have to get those oil lines unfrozen, or if you want to get them unfrozen and everything, and work on a hair dryer and get them unfrozen when I come back, you're going to pay me this much an hour to foam, or you can foam out yourself and your husband can foam out with a hair dryer outside and call us back, But like I said, you just pointed out by having that oil container and everything siphoning out to their oil burner, you already proved to them that it does work. So it's not an oil furnace issue, it's an oil line issue. Okay, because sometimes they can be frozen that bad. Where I got Mrs. Living down there on Seagull Beach Road. Her husband followed those lines out with wires. Okay, us at wires and everything, it's all cost me $1,000 following the lines out, right? Okay, so do you want to pay me $1,000, or do you want a husband since you're missing work anyhow because when it's snowing, most people are going to work unless you're finding snow, right? So the average person with all the oil lines out to save $1,000. Okay, so it's proof to them that the oil lines does work and it's the oil lines that are frozen.
Yeah, that's 3 or 4 more calls we can go run while they're doing that.
You got
This would be an extreme case. Hopefully we'll be able to fix everything while we're there. But let's say something happens, it just can't be fixed. Maybe it's going to be a cracked heat exchanger. It's just not safe to run it. It's kind of our duty, if you will, to help them protect their home too. So suggestion number 1, like, hey, you're going to need to go. You might not want to hear this, but y'all need to go find a hotel. But if it's going to be below freezing for several days before anybody can get there, pipes could freeze and bust. So they have city water, which not too many people around here do, shut off the main valve coming into the house. But if they have a well, which is the majority of our customers, have them turn off the well pump knock the pressure off, drain the pipes down the best. Maybe show them how to do it, and again, have them sign off. Like, look, we're not promising you you're not gonna have busted pipes, but here's some suggestions, like turn off the well pump, drain the system down, so that way when you
Just showing
leave.
up all faucets and stuff like that.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know,
Cold plumber.
and like I said, and also like some of your drain lines, if you actually keep RV antifreeze and put it in the toilets, and that actually the pipe won't freeze and everything because RV antifreeze is in it. So like I said, that's how I used to winterize RVs and everything. So you pour a little bit of each drain line and pour it in the toilet and everything. That will stop drain line freezing.
I just pour my water heater.
And one last thing for me, and anything else you guys we're running up on it. Last night I prepared my house. Like I turned off, disconnected my hose, turned off my spigot I drained my outside spigot, turned it off inside. So please use today to prepare your own houses so that next week when we're running, you don't have an emergency at your own house. So we can just kind of focus on taking care of our clients.
And like I said, and educate customers too. Like I said, if they got pellet stoves and everything, tell them, say, hey man, you got a pellet stove on this floor, put a carbon dioxide level on this floor. If you look and see they have fossil fuel as backup heat in their house, anything, even if they have a heat pump, okay, educate the customer, say, look, you know, you're putting a wood stove, I suggest put a carbon dioxide detector in here with that wood stove, because what happens is that wood stove starts burning poorly in the middle of the night, you're saying that detector will go off and wake your family up and everything, because it's not all about smoke and everything. Smoke detector and everything is great, but carbon dioxide detector is very important thing to have too, because they could be burning a whole house full of heat pumps for the whole life and everything, and all of a sudden get a pellet stove, and they didn't know they needed a carbon dioxide detector. But, you know, the guy that's moving in the house and everything, he's got that wood stove, he's never ran in the basement, the one yesterday, you know. So it's important and everything that, you know, basically if you want to build a relationship with a customer and you have their best interest in mind by thinking about their family safety, it goes a long way. You know?
Hopefully the number one thing you'll take away from this is keep yourself safe number one. And then number two, we do what we can, but don't do anything to jeopardize your own safety, you know, to fix anything.
And